Hi, my name is Jamarco of Marco's Movies, helping you learn more, know more, and talk more about movies. On this channel, I rate, review, and react to movies, so if you enjoy this video, please consider clicking that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, well, first of all, welcome back. Thank you for coming back to this channel. I very much appreciate it. You guys are the real MVPs. But you will notice this video is a little different, because generally speaking, I like to sit in front of a camera with light notes and let my personality do the talking. And I notice when editing the videos, I always miss something I consider important. So from now on my ranking videos, I'm going to be doing more commentary based videos where I can write the main things I want to say down and also just let my personality just speak with you guys, because I know some of you enjoy my goofy self. But with these videos, I just want to make sure you guys are getting all the info you guys deserve, and so I don't look like an idiot forgetting to say something really important. But with all that said, let's get into the actual video portion of this, video. And as you guys saw in the title today, I'm giving you my top 10 action movies of the 21st century. And in the 21st century, I consider action movies to have kind of went down to a little plateau. But all 10 of these movies I consider movies that you should not only check out, but are pristine and well-made action movies. So let's quit the talking and get to the ranking with my number 10. Taken is pretty sick. Liam Neeson plays my favorite Liam Neeson role ever, and out of all the films on this list, this one feels the most realistic and the most just grounded in reality, from the dark undertone color palette that actually works for the movie, Man of Steel. And just the basic plot feels so realistic that it almost feels like an actual story that actually has happened. And the action scenes are good, I would say. They aren't necessarily great. It is a little too much relying on the skills of the editing team with all the edits, but overall a solid action movie that the plot actually drives the action forward, which generally speaking does not happen too often. Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz has some dope action, okay? I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, this movie's main focus is to be a comedy, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't include some awesome action scenes with the Cornetto trilogy characters being SWAT team members. The main reason this movie is so low on the list is because obviously it is a comedy movie first, but I do get a little amped up during the action scenes, and there are some good lines of dialogue that do break the tension at first, but it comes right back during the action scenes when you realize the situation that they are in. Is it my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy? No, that title goes to Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, I know, I'm a basic bitch. But does it have the best representation of its secondary genre that it's trying to make fun of? I would say so. Before I say anything, did you guys know this movie had a budget of $1.1 million? That is insane. With inflation, that's almost the same budget that Halloween, the original one, had with $300,000 in 1979. So stop making excuses that you need money to make a compelling action movie with great choreographed action and pretty solid CGI action scenes, I would say. Because Raid Redemption shows that. This is actually an Indonesian action film that was originally called Raid, and America was like, wow, that's a pretty cool action movie. Let's rename it, perfect. So the practical action work done in this movie is just some of the best I've ever seen. I seriously think when they casted this movie, they just went out and asked everyone in Japan, hey, can you do a backflip? Hey, are you a black belt in karate? And said, oh, you can? Guess what? You're in this movie now. And it helped with the practical stunt work because all these guys are such masters in karate that it really was just natural to them. And it's also framed really good so that it shows everything going on and isn't like Marvel with a bunch of shaky cam zoom ups. Yeah, that's not the only time I'll mention them in this video. But yeah, Raid Redemption is a sick action movie and I highly recommend it since I know many people did not see it, but I will say there are some cheesy ass fight scenes, and specifically ending 2 fight scenes that just didn't work for me. They make up for it with one fight scene that is a 2-on-1 action scene between, 2 people versus 1, that was just so riveting. And yeah, it is just a top-notch action film with some great direction and some great choreographed action, which that's all you need with an action film. Collateral is underrated as hell. First of all, this is the best Tom Cruise performance, and he's actually playing the villain in this movie. And Jamie Foxx literally got nominated for an Oscar for an action movie. If you don't know, that shit never happens. Like, ever. Now, I really don't want to spoil this movie for anyone since I know many people like Raid Redemption have not seen it. so I won't. But to keep this brief, go watch Collateral. It is so enthralling and epic, and the action sequences are handled excellently, as are most Tom Cruise action movies, as he generally likes to choreograph his own scenes and his own stunt work, which you gotta give to the man. He's got balls. And yeah, just go watch Collateral, like now. Logan is the only comic book movie on this list, and for good reason. I can generally watch Logan as a pure action movie instead of an X-Men film. Yeah, actually paying attention to the plot and what's going on to these characters in their stage of life helps the movie as well. But just seeing an old, broken down, angry Wolverine just tear shit up, and seeing the little girl doing the things she does to people at her age just wows me. Like, they would ever have a kid do that in a comic book movie, which shows that a comic book movie can have some balls. And obviously this movie is rated R, which, my god, they do not hold anything back. They get so creative with how Wolverine slices and dices people up, literally, with that R rating, and there's just blood everywhere. And while the action scenes are directed good, you don't go to this movie to see perfectly directed action sequences. You go to this movie to see Wolverine go berserk, and you get that a lot. So good job, Logan. You're more than just a generic ass comic book movie, which in the past 21st century we seem to get a lot of those generic ass comic book movies. Yeah, moving on. Edge of Tomorrow. I'm going to be brief with this one, since I feel like how good and underrated Edge of Tomorrow was has just been talked up the ass, and literally any top 10 movies of the decade video has this on it. But yeah, you have Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt being badass super soldier looking fellows fighting aliens, which is good and all, but this movie is very unrealistic. I will say I do believe in aliens, but I think the way Arrival presented them was just way better. But I will say I do enjoy Edge of Tomorrow more than Arrival, since Arrival is just kind of fucking boring. The action and stunt work and even the CGI work done in this movie is really, really good for how poorly marketed this movie was. I mean, seriously, what the hell were they doing? What were they even thinking? Rewatching this movie's trailers after watching this movie, I mean, how could they have done this bad? It just shows how bad and how truly important a marketing team is for a movie, and how even the most epic movie can have such shitty marketing. But yeah, it's criminally underrated, yada yada yada. Everyone says it's underrated. It's good. It's dope. Enough said. Kill Bill is fucking awesome. After the opening action sequence, we just learn about the character of Beatrix and see her past life, and we see her training towards her goal of killing the people who literally took her life away. And what this does is actually make us care about Beatrix's character and want to see her revenge on the assholes who did this to her, which makes the third act of this movie that much better. Seriously, the third act of Kill Bill is my favorite third act in any action movie, and maybe just movie history, as we get Beatrix versus 100 Japanese ninjas dressed up in suits and ties, and it's all over the top and full of blood, and the Tarantino flair is just sprinkled all over the place. And it makes this whole sequence so charming yet so gruesome and badass at the same time. And just seeing her cut numerous Japanese people's heads off and just pull a couple of eyes out is awesome. And yeah, that's really the best word to use when talking about Kill Bill, is awesome. Now, I can see why some people may actually hate this movie, and there is times where it just gets just a little bit over the top. And the ending fight sequence between her and that other Japanese girl ninja, which kind of, I don't know, I didn't love it as much as the previous scene. And I will admit this film just isn't for everyone and doesn't have the most realistic action scenes, but that's not what you come for not only a Tarantino film for, but an over-the-top action film. It's so over-the-top and funny that you can't do anything but have fun with this movie. The premise of John Wick is stupid. Keanu Reeves going after bad guys to avenge his dead dog, yeah, it sounds stupid as shit, but John Wick has some of the coolest action scenes ever put into film, as there are not many cuts during the action sequences, and it's filmed in a way that we're basically just following John Wick through his adventures, and just watching him tear through everything is so much fun to watch. Just the world in the John Wick universe is epic, and I love all the bright colors that are in the background in most action sequences, which helps John Wick literally feel like the Baba Yaga, aka the Boogeyman. He's a man that lurks in the shadows wearing all black that says few words and will do everything it takes to complete his mission. But what sets this John Wick in front of the other two in this trilogy is the personal aspect presented in the first John Wick movie. He's not on a mission, but like he says, it's personal, and what makes John Wick such an awesome movie character is that he actually just shoots the people in the face. He doesn't think twice or waste any time. He just shoots you in the fucking head and walks away to his next victim. But I will say there are times in the first John Wick movie where the movie just drags, and the action sequences, while great, they kind of all feel repetitive in the same way they're filmed, but then again, who gives a shit? This is a badass movie. Casino Royale is the best James Bond movie of all time. While you could argue that there isn't as much action in this movie as Skyfall and even Spectre, but the action scenes given in this movie are some of the best of all time and are actually good, unlike Spectre and Skyfall. The parkour chase sequence is literally one of the best action sequences ever put into film. Stunt-wise, it actually may be the best. And just the way Martin Campbell directed the action sequences is awesome, and he makes sure that you can see everything that is going on with very extreme wide shots, which makes the action sequences actually feel real and grounded and not just a bunch of shaky cam bullshit like in the Captain America movies. Anyways, like I was saying, Casino Royale is just an epic movie in general, and even the poker game that comes later in the movie is so intense and so well filmed. What holds this movie back though from being number one is the fact that there is not too many action scenes. Yes, they're great action scenes, the ones that are given, but the movie ahead of this just has so much shit going on and it's just so epic. But like I was saying, this is my number 2 on this list, and of all time, this is my 4th or 5th favorite action movie. Mad Max Fury Road is simply an action masterpiece. The action sequences are helmed in a way that is simply orgasmic, as it is full of extreme ass wide shots that are showing the entire deserted scenery, with all the dust flowing while these dope massive trucks and cars are fighting, and the editing is also fucking flawless. I mean, seriously, there is times where the action sequence will cut to another action sequence where you can still see the previous action sequence ending. I mean, it's just so many action sequences on top of each other that's fucking awesome. Also, the practical stunt work, oh my god, they're just so awesome. I mean, seriously. The stunt work put into this film just looks so painful, and the stunt doubles seriously deserve some more praise, especially when it just comes to action movies in general. And the world that George Miller is trying to convey feels so real and so grounded that it makes you almost wonder if the world could turn into this apocalyptic wasteland. Charlize Theron as Furiosa and Tom Hardy as Max are two characters that in the moment are the coolest movie characters ever, but as you get deeper and deeper into this film, you realize that they have had such troubled past, and the ways that it is written into the story is just brilliant. Mad Max just isn't the greatest action movie of the century. It's one of the greatest action movies of all time, and is one of the, honestly, the greatest movies ever put into cinema. So there you guys go. There's my top 10 action movies of the 21st century. If you guys enjoy this sort of analyzed commentary sort of video, please leave this video a thumbs up. I'll be trying to post every single one of my ranking videos in this format. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, keep watching movies.